All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody out there is having a great day. Got a lot of stuff to get to today. So in a little bit, Trump has a stage 5 meltdown at Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene because MAGA has completely and utterly collapsed around him. So I'll have a lot to say about that. We also have Joe Rogan taking shots at AOC and mocking her over her comment that woke one was crazy. So we'll dive into that as well. And then later on, we have a billionaire, Mark Cuban, panics and throws a tantrum against universal health care, Medicare for all, which is just beyond disgusting and grotesque, and he should be ashamed of himself doing that. So I'll have a lot to say about that as well. And you guys know the deal, man. Everybody do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. You, of course, can support the show on Patreon as well. Remember, y'all, this is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I never will do that. I'm very proud of what we built here. You guys made that possible by giving $1 a month or $2 a month or $5 a month. So I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And then, of course, you could also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. And go sub to Corin's World and come hang out with us live on Monday nights as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. So let me start with this. Abdul derangement syndrome and Hassan derangement syndrome has now hit crisis levels. Okay, I mean, this is like nuclear levels of bad faith attacks and smears and, disgusting, underhanded, bullshit, dirty politics nonsense. That's what we're now witnessing here. So, you had a disgusting and fraudulent attack from Mike Rogers, the Trump cuck, running against Abdul. He said the following: more calls for violence coming out of the El Sayed campaign. Here is his running mate, Hassan Piker. What? Saying that if American Jews support Israel, they will be violently targeted because of it. This is all in reaction to Michigan Democratic congressional candidate Jeremy Moss, who happens to be Jewish, saying he is unsure if he will be able to support Abdul for these very reasons. Absolutely disgusting, he puts in all caps, so you know he's serious. If Abdul El Sayed had any courage at all, he would call this out and disavow Hassan Piker once and for all. We're waiting, Abdul. Okay. So he's citing this DSA Watch account, which is another hack smear account, which looks for out-of-context clips to try to smear left-wing people. And he plays a 51-second clip here. Now, I'm going to get to Abdul's reaction in a second. But first, let's go to this. So Palkey says the following: Mike Rogers is pushing a blatantly clipped video. In the full clip, Hassan never called for violence. He was discussing Jeremy Moss's refusal to endorse Abdul El Sayed, and that the worst anti-Semitism comes from those who conflate all Jews with Israel. So now I'm going to play the entire comment that Hassan made, and you're going to determine whether or not you think he's calling for violence and whether or not you think this is anti-Semitic. Let's listen. Here we go.
I wonder what he has to do to gain the support of Oakland County's Jewish community. Yeah, he has to drop his critiques of Israel. That's what it is. Now, is Oakland County's Jewish community in unison making this demand of Abdul El Sayed? No, of course not. But if there isn't opposition from Jewish figures in this community that are loud about the divergence between this representative and their own desires, then the media narrative will set in. Even if they don't realize that this media narrative presents Jews as single-minded and singularly invested in the continuation of the Israeli apartheid. I don't know how many different ways I can explain this. I don't know how people don't recognize how dangerous this predicament is, how dangerous this is for Jews. You're running around basically tying your entire identity to a country that inevitably will be seen as basically Jewish ISIS. And you're saying, as Jews, this is all we care about.
He's literally calling out Zionists for making anti-Semitism worse by insisting that all Jews are represented by the state of Israel. He's saying that makes Jews less safe. He is literally calling out Zionist anti-Semitism. That's the point. Let's continue.
Republican U.S. Senate candidate Mike Rogers is endorsing a one-year moratorium on new data centers. Look at that. Look at that. They are positioning themselves and reacting to the popularity of our policies, our positions. Look at that. Yeah, Ben Jacobs says, Ben Jacobs reports on Jeremy Moss's take. Adam Johnson says, I'll translate for those unfamiliar with these serious outreach threats. Moderate on Israel, support apartheid and the arming of genocide, albeit some mild scolding about Netanyahu, or else I will withhold my support and help Rogers. This is a variation on Hakeem Jeffries' further conversations threat. There are pro-genocide uncommitted movements everywhere for those with eyes to see. That's precisely what is going on here. These guys are shamelessly saying that they are uncommitted. They're uncommitted to Abdul el-Sayed because Abdul has an anti-genocide position that is broadly popular, and these guys can't contend with that reality. They want Abdul to take a less popular and immoral position, a position that he does not hold. It's totally ridiculous, and we should not let these people forget. We should not let others forget what shameless positions that they are holding on to in this pivotal moment where the Senate majority hinges on this seat, and they are casting that aside. Because while not all Jews in Michigan are single-handedly or single-mindedly in unison holding up the continuation of Israel's apartheid as a major reason as to why they will withhold their support, there are those who are doing that. And we must not let people forget that reality.
What part of that was anti-Semitic? What part of that was a call for violence? The Mike Rogers campaign, the MAGA Republican Mike Rogers, is simply flat out lying, and aggressively so. That's what's happening here, and everybody who's being honest knows it. So, naturally, the Diet MAGA Democrats get in on the fun. Okay? The Diet MAGA Democrats, one of them named Hillary Scholten, who said during the primary that if Abdul wins, I don't know if I could support him. I'm probably not going to support him. Now she's out here pissing in the punch bowl and trying to take down Abdul, doing MAGA's dirty work for them. So she comes out and says, today, Congresswoman Hillary Scholten issued the following statement after Twitch streamer Hassan Piker said that American Jews who support Israel are inviting violence. In his stream, Piker directly discussed and targeted Michigan State Senator Jeremy Moss. More on that guy in a second, by the way. Showing his picture while stating that eventually someone will come around and take action, not against Israel, but against American Jews. Today, Congresswoman Hillary Scholten issued the following statement after Twitch streamer Hassan Piker, blah, 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 blah. Hassan Piker calls for violence against American Jews. Excuse you? That's just fucking defamation. You're just fucking lying. And directly naming a Michigan elected official and future congressional colleague, Jeremy Moss, are unacceptable. Full stop. Piker is a hack who thrives on hate, shock, and awe because he lacks substance. Oh my God, that's so ironic because all he was doing was talking substance there. It's dangerous for everyone. We should all be calling out this disgusting rhetoric so it loses its grip on our politics once and for all. It has no place in Michigan and no place in our country. So Hassan literally calling out anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism according to these people, and is a call for violence according to these people. You literally cannot make this up if you try. So Justin Canoe says the following. He didn't call for violence. He rightly pointed out anti-Semitism is rising because of Israel's actions. And the more American Jews defend them and do the work of anti-Semites by tying Jews to Israel, the worse it will get. And here you are doing exactly that. It is amazing. I've never seen such a faker outrage cycle in my entire fucking life, bro. I've never seen one this bad. By the way, just for those of you who are unaware, and just so you know how utterly obnoxious and fake this outrage is, here's a video that was posted by Hasanabi Productions. It's a 30-minute compilation of Hassan calling out anti-Semitism and how criticism of Israel shouldn't be conflated with criticism of Jews, okay? So next time somebody accuses him of being an anti-Semitic based on a 20-second out-of-context clip, show them this. And you don't even have to say anything. Just show them this. I'm obviously not going to play the whole thing here, but listen to the sort of stuff that Hassan says all the time.
Anti-Semitism is a canary in the coal mine of fascism. It's one of the oldest bigotries that has caused those of the Jewish faith a tremendous amount of pain. From pogroms to the Holocaust, Jews have always been singled out by those in power as a scapegoat for instability and economic volatility people in power caused. A resilient, nascent anti-Semitism is a constant threat, especially as economic instability makes those in power seek out old targets. They're not very creative, usually. They just always rehash the same propaganda over and over again. This is precisely the reason why I am terrified of the conflation of anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism.
I mean, he could not be more clear. It's literally 30 minutes of him making the point that the enemy is Zionism, the enemy is not Jews. Jews are our brothers and sisters. How many times and how many ways can he make that same point? So, to my surprise, Abdul drops a statement. My statement on Hasan Piker's comments regarding Jeremy Moss. Abdul says, quote, I believe all Americans deserve the right to advocate for what they believe without fear of violence. This is particularly true for communities that have been intimidated for their beliefs in the past. My commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment to the safety of my own daughters. Anti-Semitism is a scourge, and we need to address it in all its forms. And I stand against any rhetoric that puts the community at risk. But I want to be crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople. And while politicians and pundits try to make this race about a Twitch streamer, we're going to be talking about gas, groceries, good schools, and healthcare, because that's what Michiganders keep asking about. It's why I'm fighting to get money out of politics, money in your pocket, and Medicare for all. So he doesn't fully throw Hasan under the bus. He doesn't do that. But he also doesn't really say, like, they're lying and this is fake outrage, right? And so naturally, some people are criticizing Abdul here and going, really? Really? Because it almost feeds in to this mind virus of faux outrage that, like, Hasan was being anti-Semitic and calling for violence against Jews, which is a flat-out lie. A flat-out lie. So I don't know why you would drop this statement in particular, okay? I don't know why. I'm sure in Abdul's mind, he thinks, like, well, I didn't throw Hasan under the bus, so, like, that should count for something. But I don't know. It seems to me to just be feeding the fake outrage cycle. Because what they're going to do now is they're going to go, we got him. And they're going to, you gave them an inch, now they're going to try to take a mile. That's how it works. You can't give these motherfuckers a centimeter or a fucking millimeter, okay? This was fake outrage. They were lying from the beginning, and that's what needs to be said. That's what needs to be pointed out. It should be pointed out that Hasan was calling out anti-Semitism in the clip where they say he's being anti-Semitic. So now, by the way, this guy who the Diet MAGA Democrats are rushing to the defense of, Hillary Scholten is rushing to the defense of, and Mike Rogers is rushing to the defense of. Listen to what Michigan State Senator Jeremy Moss, a Democrat running for the U.S. Congress this November, was caught on tape saying. And what he said on tape is, quote, I don't think it's wrong for Israel to use America as a pawn. America is not our homeland. That is like literally the definition of being Israel first. That is a comment, ladies and gentlemen, that should be criticized by everybody. To not criticize that is fucking insane. It is insane to not call that out directly. And yes, people like this increase anti-Semitism because they come out and they say, Israel is representing all Jews. If you're Jewish, Israel is representing you. So when they shoot babies in the face, when they bomb innocent people, when they bomb UN workers, when they bomb World Central Kitchen workers, Israel is representing the Jews when they do that. That's what they're doing. And when you say that over and over and over and over and over, that will lead to an increase in anti-Semitism because you're trying to connect all Jews to genocide. And that's bullshit. So you are increasing anti-Semitism. He is doing that. And that's the point that Hasan was making. Bro, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna fucking lose it. Now, by the way, the little cherry on top of this conversation, and this is what Abdul should have said, the official Mike Rogers campaign outreach team is full of neo-Nazis who participate in group chats that praise Hitler and call for Jews to be sent to North Korea. You won't hear about this because Mike Rogers supports Israel, so the media will lie about Hasan instead. This is literal, guys. This is literal. New, Mike Rogers announced his members of outreach team who defended Hitler group chat and spread misogynistic comments. Quote, chat filled with praise for Hitler, gas chamber jokes, racial slurs, and rape comments. Jesus Christ. Quote, I love Hitler. He referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people and mused about putting opponents in gas chambers and called rape, quote, epic. These are the people working on fucking Mike Rogers' campaign. And we're having a conversation about Hasan Piker, who was calling out anti-Semitism? Oh, no, bro. So, guys, I gotta say, I feel fucking horrible for Hasan, man. They lie about him so shamelessly, so brazenly, so aggressively. They, like, bully the media into just accepting their description of events. Now even Abdul released a statement that doesn't really throw Hasan under the bus, but also doesn't defend his name. Like, see, now I'm sort of fed up. I'm sort of fed up of even the defense of, like, well, I believe in free speech and I'm against cancel culture, so stop canceling Hasan. No, somebody needs to go out there and stand 10 toes down and puff their chest out and say, he believes in universal rights. He believes in protecting every minority community. He believes in raising taxes on the wealthy and redistributing and giving people health care and giving people education and ending the wars and not arming a genocide. He's right. He's right about all that. Enough with the fake outrage, smear bullshit. And that's what it is. It's just smearing. So, look, what we're looking at here is HASAN derangement syndrome. And never give in to fake outrage. Ever, 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 ever. Okay? And then also what I'll show you is we got HASAN derangement syndrome, and that's being used in service of Abdul derangement syndrome. So here's a great example. Now remember, they went after HASAN here for calling for violence. He didn't call for violence. And for being anti-Semitic, he was literally calling out anti-Semitism. They were dead wrong on all counts, right? Here's the sort of stuff that Mike Rogers surrogates, when they're not goose-stepping and zig-heiling and praising Hitler in the group chat, here's what Mike Rogers surrogates are saying. Listen to this.
Talk about another state that you raised, another big state, Michigan, the face-off between Democrat Abdul al-Sayed and former Congressman Mike Rogers. The NRSC continues to put out social media posts claiming that Abdul al-Sayed has quote-unquote terrorist ties, and yet there is no evidence that he has terrorist ties. Senator, should the NRSC stop running those ads?
Well, we know without question that he had family members who helped resource Osama bin Laden.
Oh my God. Oh my days. You have U.S. senators going, well, sure, but he's basically in Al-Qaeda. He's basically ISIS. He personally helped Osama bin Laden. So yeah, bro, I think that's fucked up. The shit that Republicans get away with. Bro, we live in a country where Rush Limbaugh, one of the most hateful motherfuckers of all time, got the Congressional Medal of Freedom from our pedophile terrorist president. And I'm supposed to be mad at Hasan Piker for being correct, for saying true things, for supporting universal human rights? That's the scandal? That they tarnished something and twisted it and lied about it and pretended like he was being anti-Semitic when he was calling out anti-Semitism? Pretending like he called for violence when he fucking didn't? He was literally warning about an increase in violence because of Zionist anti-Semitism. That's the whole point. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, Abdul's basically an ISIS. Can we talk about this? Hey, Hillary Scholten. I replied to Hillary Scholten with her fucking smear attack against Hasan. And what I said to her is, do you have any thoughts on our pedophile terrorist president bombing innocent fishermen and murdering them literally today? You've said nothing about the pedophile terrorist president murdering innocent fishermen with no due process whatsoever. You've said nothing about that today, but you called out Hasan Piker, a fucking Twitch streamer. Are you kidding me? I mean, these people are sick. If you are punching left in this moment, you are the scum of the earth. If you are punching left, you are Diet MAGA. You are helping the fascists. Period. End of discussion. If you are punching left in this moment. I have zero tolerance these days for left punching. Fucking zero. Go after MAGA and go after Diet MAGA, the people who are co-conspirators and facilitating MAGA and their fucking destruction of everything, like Hakeem Jeffries, who just met with Jared Kushner to see what they could work together on. Calling out Hasan Piker? Are you fucking kidding me?
We know without question that he campaigns with Piker, who said at one point that America deserved 9/11.
Let's stay focused on al-Sayed, though. Let's stay focused on al-Sayed and what he has said and believes in. There's no
birds of a feather
evidence.
flock together.
See, I can't. See, the fact that nobody has made a full-throated defense of Hasan now leads to shit like this, right? The fact that nobody came out and said, he was talking about the concept of blowback, which is something that the libertarian Ron Paul, who ran for president as a Republican in 2008, if he could acknowledge that publicly, we can all be fucking adults here, and we can acknowledge he was talking about blowback. But no, I mean, we live in hell. And the entire race now is going to be smear after smear after smear of the left, painting the left as extremists, as at the same time, we have Donald Trump murdering fishermen, Donald Trump bombing little girl schools, Donald Trump threatening to steal Greenland, Donald Trump threatening to steal Cuba, kicking 18 million people off their Medicaid, closing 742 rural hospitals, kicking 4 million people off the SNAP program, shoving innocent immigrants into ICE concentration camps and torturing them and raping them. But we're supposed to clutch our pearls and faint on our fainting couch because Hasan Piker said something factually true.
Birds of a feather flock together. The company you keep does matter. We all know that. That's something we learn in.
You keep company with Donald fucking Trump, who raped a 13-year-old, Katie Johnson, who has a fucking nipple torture fetish. You're fucking buddy with the guy who said, we're going to annihilate an entire civilization. An entire civilization will die tonight. Yeah, you're right. Birds of a feather flock together. And that's why you motherfuckers should be nowhere near power. You should be gonzo. It should be over for you. You guys should be in a fucking insane asylum, all of you together.
elementary school. Well, let's go to where he stands on the issues, though. There's a reason why even former Biden administration folks are joining with Republicans and hosting fundraisers throughout Michigan to support Mike Rogers. Here's one of the reasons why. We've got a candidate.
Yeah, because they're all bought by the fucking Israel lobby and they're diet MAGA, and they know that Abdul's actually going to cut off the weapons to Israel, and they would do anything to continue to fund the genocide, and so they're Republicans now.
And Abdul El Sayed, who wants to abolish ICE.
Everybody should want to abolish ICE. It's a criminal gang. It's not a fucking government agency. They're not upholding the law. They're destroying the law.
And the police. Here's a candidate so radical that even Democrats in Michigan are joining forces for the
You got like literally 2 of them on somebody's front lawn, and they're all funded by Israel.
first time with Republicans to elect Mike Rogers.
It's just fucking disgusting.
To be very clear, there is no evidence that al-Sayed supports any terrorist organization.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Just to be clear, he's not literally ISIS. He's not best friends with Osama bin Laden. Just to be clear, he's not actually in Al-Qaeda, even though your pedophile terrorist president decided to put a former Al-Qaeda leader as the head of the country of Syria. I mean, what a sick joke. What a sick joke. Here's one more for you. Mike Rogers, this is the sort of shit he's talking about. Listen to what he says here.
And when I get there, we're going to fix this. We're going to fight to bring down
Nice microphone you got there, bro.
costs.
Oh,
we're
here
going
you
to
are.
pass the SAVE Act. We're going to get...
We're going to pass this. In other words, we're going to rig elections from now till the end of time.
You bet. We're going to take transgender flags out of our schools and put the American school back in there.
So Abdul is talking about putting money in your pocket and Medicare for all, and this guy's talking about removing trans flags from school and passing the Election Rigging Save Act to make Trump a dictator. But be really mad because Hassan said something accurate. Be really mad because Hassan said something objectively correct. Be really mad because a bunch of people are smearing and lying about Hassan and saying he said something anti-Semitic, even though he was literally calling out anti-Semitism. Oh my God. Oh my God. I am so fucking sick of MAGA. I am so sick of these lying smear merchants. And I'm so sick of diet MAGA helping to further the most obnoxious and incorrect smear attacks I've ever seen in my entire life. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. So Donald Trump, deep down, knows exactly where he's at right now in terms of his popularity. There is no doubt he's seen that his average approval rating is 35%. There's no doubt that he's seen that one poll has him at 30% approval rating. There's no doubt that he's aware that he pissed away all of the support he had gained with young people, with independents, and with every little demographic that he picked up a little bit here and there. Hispanic, for example. So he's panicking. He is panicking. He is terrified, and he doesn't know what to do. I mean, partially one of the things he wants to do is just blame all the other Republicans when they lose and say, I wasn't on the ballot, that's why they lost. But the other part of him, of course, has all these contingency plans to effectively try to steal the election. But in a moment like this, he's having what's called a narcissistic collapse. Okay, he's a malignant narcissist. He's dealing with dementia and many other problems. He's having a narcissistic collapse. And what he's doing is targeting the people who he feels like have been disloyal. And like he's pawning all of the blame for his collapsing popularity off to the MAGA defectors, the ones who were in the club and then they decided, fuck this, I don't like this, this isn't what I signed up for, and they left. Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene in particular, and Tucker Carlson and Thomas Massie, they all get the brunt of this absolute meltdown. So here's what Trump says: Tucker Carlson just met with lightweight former congressman. Why would he put former in quotes? No, he's just a former congressman. It's not former in quotes. Former Congressman Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, losers all. Tucker's views, in quotes, I don't know why that's in quotes. What is he doing? Have fallen through the floor. That's made up, by the way. And will only get worse. Nobody cares about him any longer, and that he has become totally irrelevant, which is why the President of the United States, you, are tweeting about him. and happens to be, surprisingly, a very low IQ individual. Oh, here we go. He could barely get out of college, and maybe he didn't, but only really dumb people can't make it through that wonderful 4-year time in life. Tucker wants to run for political office. He literally doesn't, and he said that like 4 different times that he's got no intention on running. But he should be required to take a cognitive test. He's got no chance, but could probably take a couple of points away from whatever Republican ticket happens to be. Tucker is a loser, and always has been. Marjorie Taylor Brown, literally the second nickname he's used for the same person within the same post. Green turns to brown under stress. A highly neurotic young woman went from ultra-conservative to a liberal fool, all in a matter of weeks because I refused to return her phone calls. Not because I don't like her, just because I had no time. She was way down in the polls in Georgia because I took away my endorsement and would have had no chance at winning. Let me just pause to point out, the fucking self-suck off. I just told you guys, now we're at the point where Trump endorses some Republican candidates and they lose. It never was like that before. But now he'll endorse a Republican in the primary and the Republicans from time to time will lose. He endorsed, remember that guy Amir Hassan who he endorsed, and a Republican who dropped out ended up beating Amir Hassan? Now, that one is because of Republican racism, of course. But there were other ones where Mike Lindell he endorsed. He went hard for him. He lost. There was like 3 others that we talked about on the show. They lost. So now all this like acting like, well, I gave my endorsement and that's why you lost. I endorsed the other person. This is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. The guy is fucking uniquely unpopular. Like, he's at a record low approval rating for somebody at his point in his regime, okay? All right, he continues. So she, just like everybody else, quit. Thomas Massie has turned out to be a failed politician and a real jerk. He thought it was really wonderful to vote no on everything. Okay, again, let me just pause. I'm sorry, guys, but I can't. I have to point it out as we go here. Thomas Massie voted over 90% of the time with Republicans, okay? Literally over 90% of the time, which is why, by the way, I appreciate his vote on the Epstein files. I appreciate him standing up to, and not wanting to send weapons to Israel. I appreciate him standing up against the Iran war. All that stuff is great. But there's a reason why I say the worst Democrat is better than the best Republican. This is why, because he still voted over 90% of the time with the sadistic terrorist pedophile party. Okay? And here's Trump pretending like he voted no on everything. No, the only things where he went against you was the war with Iran and the Epstein files. That's it. That's it. And you being so cucked to Israel. That's it. That's literally it. And you're crashing out because you know he's right. You know he's right. And you know you're a blackmailed pedophile and you're going to do whatever the fuck Netanyahu says, because if you don't, he's going to release everything he's got on you. What a team this would be. 3 losers and a pocket full of change. The only chance they have is to join the radical left Democrats and try to break into the primary system. To all of them, I say, praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. Now, let me just pause to point out, I guarantee you that last line, praise be to Allah, I guarantee you, it's because they were making bets. They were insider trading and making bets, and they placed a bet on Polymarket or wherever the fuck that Trump is going to say, praise be to Allah, within the next week or something. And then he says it, and then he gets a cut of it. I guarantee you that's the case. I guarantee you. But this is what you do when you know you're cooked. This is what you do when you know it's over. He's going after the people who he feels the most betrayed by, who were supposed to be on the team, but now they have no interest in being on the team. Okay? But I will also say this, though. Trump is right when he says, I decide what MAGA is. I do. Now, I mean, logically speaking, I think Tucker and Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene have a better argument that America first actually means no stupid foreign wars. But Trump flipped it and said, no, it means wars now. And guess what? 85% of the Republican Party went, right on, sir. Now we support wars because you're doing them. So, like, I wish people were more principled. I wish they actually gave a shit about this country and were trying to fix things. They're not. The people who remain in Trump's Republican Party, they are in a death cult. It is a death cult, and they are sadists. Like, that's what they do. Sadism is what drives them. They get off on other people's pain, people they don't like. If a liberal's hurt, if an immigrant's hurt, if a trans person or, a Mexican or a black person or whoever, Muslim, we want you to feel pain, and we get pleasure out of your pain. That's the whole point of the movement. And so when Trump says, I define MAGA, he's right. He's right. And that's why they did a poll, and Tucker only had 15 or 20% of the Republican base liked him over Trump, and 80% was with Trump. So props on him for leaving the cult, but the cult is still culting, even though you're not anymore. Okay? So this is what you guys get. This is what you guys get. And the fact of the matter is, they do. If they really wanted to stick it to Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene could have stayed in Congress and continued to fucking vote against Trump. She didn't. She took her ball and she went home. But if you actually want to get after Trump, you want to get back at him, all you have to do is create an actual third party, get on the ballot, and run for president. Have somebody run for president on your ticket line. Because in that scenario, all you got to do is take 2 to 5% of the vote from Republicans, and Democrats will win for sure, guaranteed. And so if y'all really want to stick it to him, let's see how much about that life you are. If y'all really want to stick it to him, start your third party, take 2 to 5% of the vote from the Republicans, and let the Democrats win every election from now until forever in perpetuity, because you guys are rat fucking the Republicans. I would love to see it, frankly. I would love to see it. Unfortunately, what I think is more likely is that Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Tucker, that all of them, what they're going to do is use whatever anti-establishment credibility they think they have, they're going to use it to end up supporting a J.D. Vance run in 2028. And so it's all going to be bullshit at the end of the day, because this guy is part of the Trump regime and is guilty of the same crimes as Trump and is gonna lie all over again. All this, we're anti-war, we're pro-peace, we're fucking anti-corruption, we're anti-establishment. All that stuff was proven to be false, and now Tucker's gonna build up his anti-establishment cred and redirect it right back into supporting J.D. Vance and whoever the Republican nominee is, assuming they make some like mildly anti-war grunt noises throughout the campaign, right? So I'm just warning you, that's what's going to happen here. But Trump is absolutely flipping out. He's absolutely losing his shit, and he's going after the people who he feels like were already in line, already should have bent the knee. This is where the anger goes now. So what a mess he is, and I think it's only going to get worse as his brain continues to fail him.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
One of the most disturbing things about the Trump regime is that they will do something incredibly shocking and disturbing and grotesque and scary. And people will realize that, they'll acknowledge that, they'll react to that. There'll be, a week or two of like endless coverage of the insanity, whether it be Doge, for example, and them cutting pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels and, firing government workers. I mean, remember all that chaos and how horrible that was? Or whether it's the story of the mass murder of fishermen in the Caribbean and the Pacific, or whether it's the threats against Cuba or Mexico or Greenland. And like, something crazy will happen. We'll all talk about it and cover it, right? And then like, the talk will die down, but the thing will keep happening, right? And that's what's still going on with ICE. So ICE, I mean, they literally were on like a terrorist crime spree going across this nation and like assaulting innocent people, throwing them in concentration camps, sending them to El Salvador, sending them to countries that they never fucking been before. Just insane stuff. And like now, people barely mention it. And this is what Trump has done. He's broken our ability to follow things in real time. He's broken our outrage meter and our perception of what's happening. And so I got to give you these updates because these are just, I mean, it never stopped. It never stopped. The ICE terror spree literally never stopped, and the stories are absolutely atrocious. So look at this one. U.S. Customs says it has the authority to search the electronic devices of anyone entering or leaving the U.S., regardless of citizenship, to enforce laws addressing whatever. Deleting the data means up to 5 years in jail. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. This is like the definition of no longer a free country, right? I mean, shit, let's just talk about citizens for a second here. If you're an American citizen and you travel abroad and you come back, they're saying they have the right to go through all of your private stuff. They have the right to like look through your text messages and shit and look through your emails and like, are you fucking kidding me? How the fuck? That's so illegal and unconstitutional. It's hard to even vocalize like just how despicable this is. I mean, that's insane. Never mind the fact it would also be fucked up if you were going after, immigrants in the same fashion. Like, that is crazy. Okay? But this is what Trump has done. He has slowly but surely destroyed the U.S. Constitution, destroyed due process, made it so you destroyed habeas corpus, made it so you have no right to privacy, made it so you have no protection from unreasonable search and seizure. They destroyed the warrant system, for example, to go after immigrants. And now it ends with this. And then never mind the flock cameras that are being put up everywhere. But let me continue. We also have this. Notice says the following. A 1-year-old baby appeared in immigration court without legal representation in Arizona and received an instruction. File an asylum application before the next hearing or face deportation. It's a 1-year-old baby without representation. I mean, we're at the point now where you read a headline and you go, okay, this one's going in the history books. This one's going in the history books. When this chapter in world history is written, they will discuss the Fourth Reich, known as the United States and Israel, and they will describe how draconian and barbaric and savage and primitive our system had become and how much we had degraded our human rights to the point where you're making a 1-year-old baby file an asylum application? Oh, my days. Okay. How about this one? ICE detained an indigenous tribal elder on his way to work in Texas.
An indigenous elder was just detained by ICE in Corpus Christi. His name is Adalberto Zanes, and he is the one that everyone in Corpus calls for ceremony to open Indigenous Peoples Day, powwows, city events. Everyone knows him. Call Representative Michael Cloud and demand his release and check for his well-being. We need your help to get him out. Please take the time to call, take the time to donate, take the time to share, take the time to host an event to fundraise for his legal fees, because we all know it's tens of thousands of dollars, but we can pool resources together to help our community. Stay consistent. Please keep posting it. Please don't let it stop just with this one time. You can call once a day. Our elders are being picked up off the street.
You know, it's almost too perfect to think of the depravity here of Native Americans. This is not the first time we've covered on this show Native Americans being detained by ICE. I mean, the fucking irony is so rich. Some like fat, balding, white racist rounding up who got here, you know, whose grandparents were immigrants to this country from fucking Ireland or whatever the fuck. And then you have somebody whose family had been here fucking generations, and they round up a Native American leader. I mean, what is there to even say? What is there to even say? If anybody, in a world that made sense, everybody would be able to live without this sort of oppression, but it would certainly make more sense to have the Native guy, stopping the balding, fat, white, disgusting freak in ICE, right? Like, they have less of a reason to be here than this guy does. I can't. Okay. Leaked video from an ICE detention center. Abusive conditions caused diarrhea and pneumonia to spread. Quote, almost all of us girls had abdominal pain and diarrhea, then bathed me with cold water from a hose, made me dry off in front of an air conditioner. I almost died from pneumonia. They didn't want to treat me and rejected my doctor visits. They even put me in a freezing punishment room. The guards call us bitches and tell us that we should just die. She has been transferred between 3 ICE detention centers over several months in Florida, Louisiana, and Texas. She is married to a U.S. citizen, filed her Cuban Adjustment Act paperwork, owned her business for 4 years, and has no criminal record. Marianita doesn't have an account on this platform, so posting first full-length credited video here to help raise awareness. So, I mean, again, these are concentration camps. That's what these are. Like, you know, you could try to sugarcoat it, you could try to dance around it, but the fact of the matter is, these are concentration camps. This isn't even just a prison. This isn't a detention facility or whatever sort of highfalutin way they want to try to dress it up. These are concentration camps. That's what you call it when you have no due process, you have no constitutional rights, you have no human rights. They don't even like give you medicine that you are legally required to be able to take. They don't even do that. And, you know, they ruin your health. People have died in these facilities, of course. Over 50 people have died in ICE custody. Never mind the ones that have been shot in the face at point blank range. This is what this is. And so when we say the moderate position is abolish ICE, we mean it. Because the actually correct position is abolish ICE and prosecute all of these criminals to the fullest extent of the law. Because make no mistake about it, this is a crime spree. They are on a crime spree. Period. Full stop. Stephen Miller belongs in prison. Hamhead Homan belongs in prison. The Bovine Boy belongs in prison. All of the lower level ICE Gestapo thugs committing crimes, they all belong in prison. They do. And this is nothing short of a massive crime spree. All right, how about this one? Ready? This is the route that ICE agents took yesterday while their prisoner with a broken neck was bleeding profusely. The red dots are hospitals with ERs. They were hoping he would just die. Look at this. So I believe that this is a correct interpretation. If you pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hospitals, you pass 7 hospitals. It's almost like you broke the neck and then you wanted the person to die because you thought there would be more consequences if they lived. And so, same here. There's only one explanation for an ICE agent to scoop up a badly bleeding man with a broken neck into his personal vehicle and drive him past 3 hospitals. They were hoping Oscar would die along the way. That's right. ICE drags a mom and teen daughter out of a hospital room in the middle of being treated after a car accident. Agents violently detain the mom, still wearing the hospital gown, separate her from her daughter. In fact, we have this on video here, but look at this.
Pero ¿por qué la tratan así? Por Dios, ¿qué ella ha hecho? Dios mío, ¿qué ella ha hecho? Mi amor, ayúdame. ¡Auxilio! ¡No! Mi mamá no me llevó con él. Por favor, yo quiero ver el papel. ¿Dónde está el papel? Me duele demasiado el brazo. Me duele demasiado. Por favor. Por favor. Por favor, señora. Por favor. Por favor. No.
Jesus Christ, man. Hey, ICE agents, do you feel good? Does that make you feel good? You like that? You like the, incredibly painful screams of innocent people begging for mercy from your fucking Gestapo insanity and violence? So here, again, ICE drags mom and teen daughter out of hospital room in the middle of being treated after car accident. Agents violently detain mom, still wearing hospital gown, separate her from her daughter. Family never told where the mom was taken to. Both victims of being hit by a car, with asylum cases pending in good standing and valid work permit. Grace Calero, 39, and her daughter, Juliana Carriel, 19, are both originally from Ecuador. Both women received severe injuries after a near-fatal rollover crash when another car swerved into their lane head-on. Made worse when the daughter suffered a seizure after the trauma of seeing her mother violently handcuffed. Polk County Sheriff's Office contacted ICE after deciding the women's paperwork looked suspicious. They have an ongoing formal cooperation agreement with ICE. Incident occurred at HCA Florida Poinciana Hospital in Kissimmee, Florida. Jasenia Hadi Barrett doesn't have an active account on this platform, so posting here. So just insane. Just absolutely insane. And we get stuff like this all of the fucking time. Okay. Breaking, an ICE Border Patrol agent approached a U.S. citizen at a gas station in Lake Worth, Florida, demanded his ID, and when the U.S. citizen asked why, the agent said, "Because you're an immigrant." Except that's not how the Constitution works. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is now the show me your papers United States of America. The show me your papers States of America. This is how we act now.
Because you're here, you're an immigrant.
Why are you asking?
Why are you assuming he's an immigrant? Why are you assuming he's an immigrant? Why are you assuming he's an immigrant? You're racially profiling. Why are you arresting him? Why are you can't arrest him. You haven't even identified him. Get out. Why are you arresting him? Why are you came to me. I was staying right here. I was standing already right here. Take off your fucking mask. Take off your fucking mask. He hasn't done any. You guys haven't even identified him.
This is a huge lawsuit when he comes out. Hey, what's your number, sir?
You guys just racially profiled him. You guys just racially profiled him. He said he's a citizen. They're going to verify it right now.
Oh my God. Let's not forget the Supreme Court was like, hey, go ahead. You want to racially profile while doing immigration enforcement? What are you going to do? Go for it, y'all. This is the world that they want. And this is why I need Democratic politicians to wake up, is like everybody is where we are on this now, okay? Everybody knows that ICE is doing mass kidnappings and abductions and human trafficking, by the way. We covered that on the show the other week. There is a literal pedophile child trafficking problem that ICE is currently engaged in. Like, they are trafficking children. We just covered that story the other day. And people are onto this. They're onto it. People know that over 4,000 people are missing because of ICE. They just disappeared from Alligator Auschwitz. Okay? People know that over 50 people have died in ICE custody, that ICE is accused of doing slavery at their concentration camps, that literal criminals have joined ICE, people with insane, extreme mental illness, okay, with a track record of being domestic abusers. People know that this is who these people are. So you're not going to be able to, I think maybe we can reform ICE a little bit around the edges, tiny bit maybe, but I'm still going to be tough on immigration. No, I think Americans are now ready to hear a very forthright case that immigrants make this country great. That the melting pot of this country is what makes it phenomenal, okay? So enough with the anti-immigrant bullshit and the police state and the tyranny that has now been created in service of like harassing innocent brown people and kicking them out of the country. It's time to fucking wake up. This shit has gone way too far, and it's obvious to anybody who's even half paying attention. Here's another one for you. CBS News says, a U.S. Navy sailor serving on the USS Abraham Lincoln says his dad was arrested by immigration officials. Oh my God. Can you imagine? You're a U.S. soldier, you're on the USS Abraham Lincoln, where, like, you're dealing with mold, you're dealing with food that's stale and out of date and rotting, you're dealing with disgusting toilets that don't flush with shit everywhere, you're running out of deodorant and soap, you got 6 of your shipmates have jumped over the edge trying to kill themselves effectively. You've been out there for like a year, whatever the fuck it's been. You're losing your goddamn mind. You're seeing things. And then you hear on the way back, oh, by the way, your dad was arrested by immigration. You are serving this fucking country in this pedophile's war of aggression against an innocent country, and the U.S. still spit in your eye and still slapped you across the face. What did you learn? What did you learn? Please go ahead, I'll wait. What you should have known all along, which is there is no fucking loyalty. There's no fucking loyalty. You think Donald Trump or Pete Kegsbreath, the Secretary of War Crimes, gives a single solitary fuck about you serving the nation? They'll kick your ass out of here too. They'll throw your ass in a concentration camp too. They don't give a fuck, not even in the slightest. This is who these people are, bro. That's what you need to understand, is that this is who these people are. And then finally, I wanted to end on this one. Elon Musk is expressing his approval for the idea of shooting and drowning immigrants and refugees seeking a better life and denying them food and water. Reminder, he was in the U.S. illegally, according to his brother. So here, I'll show you. Yes, this is a good signifier of who Elon is. It says, don't buy Tesla. And it's one of the flaily armed things given the Nazi salute. But look at this. So this person says, Greek Minister of Immigration called for shooting migrants, sinking boats with refugees, and urged denying them food and water. And Elon replies and says, based. The world's richest man, who was a fucking trillionaire with a T, a trillionaire, going, yes, you should shoot migrants, sink boats with refugees, and deny them food and water. At some point, it just became the case that the entire fucking Republican Party and all of the billionaires decided we are just going to be comic book villains. We're going to let it all hang out. And here we are. So there you have it. Completely and utterly out of control. This country has undergone a moral collapse. This country has morally collapsed. And now we're living in, a fallen state, basically. This is a fallen state. They talk about Sodom and Gomorrah and how, like, it's the biblical story where, like, there was all sorts of debauchery and degeneracy. And they define that as, like, doing drugs and people having gay sex and stuff. No, this is the actual degenerate state, okay? And when I say degenerate, I mean, like, we murder innocent girls in Iran, little schoolgirls, right? Or we throw little kids in concentration camps with the ICE Gestapo thugs. Or we have a school shooting every other week, right? Or whatever other horror story. Gary, Indiana has been without power for 2 weeks. Nobody cares. Nobody's doing anything to fix it. We are now living in the degenerate states of America. But the degeneracy is the immorality and the unethical nature of everything our government does and the fact that we've collapsed morally as a society.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So Joe Rogan apparently went after AOC a little bit here, and he talks about the comment that she made the other day on one of the Sunday shows when she said woke one was crazy. So let's see what he has to say here, and we'll break it down as we go.
The world's temperature is not static.
Have you been tracking AOC's pivot recently?
What she's froze her eggs. I know about that.
I think
she got rid of the man.
Called off the engagement, froze her eggs, has started posting, I'm on my way to do yoga, like
good for her.
Videos walking down the street.
Looking hot.
By the way, what the... Rogan just called her hot. Okay. What does any of this have to do with her politics? Just like, I'm like... You gonna get to the political stuff at all, or
looking hot?
Let's go. Maybe she'd be nicer that way.
Well, she also said woke one was crazy. Do you track this thing?
I did, which makes me think that you're willing to change your opinions based on public reaction.
Oh my God, I know it's not Joe Rogan making that claim. I know it's not Joe Rogan accusing somebody else of changing their opinions based on public reaction. I know it's not the man who hopped on the MAGA bandwagon at peak MAGA when all the idiots online were fucking falling all over themselves to get in on the fun and trigger the libs and all that stuff. I know you're not the one saying AOC is changing opinions based on public reaction. I know that you would have the self-awareness not to do such a thing when that's like your whole fucking brand. This is a guy who would sit across from Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder and nod along in agreement with literally every single thing they say. Then he also would sit across from me or sit across from Abby Martin and nod along in agreement with everything we say. Doing the exact thing he's accusing AOC of doing. Oh my days. I can't, bro.
I did, which makes me think that you're willing to change your opinions based on public reaction. I don't like that. Because if you really thought defund the police and then you just ascribed it to woke one was crazy, well, how did it get you? Because it didn't get me. How did it get you? How did defund the police get you?
Oh, Mr. Who, me, bro? No big deal. I'm an independent thinker, bro. When I see Donald Trump carpet bombing little girls in Iran, or I see Trump be self-dealing and being super corrupt, I'm an independent thinker, so I use that moment to attack Nancy Pelosi or to attack Hunter Biden. Because I'm an independent thinker. You know, it didn't get me, bro. It didn't get me, bro. It got you. Oh, my God. Shut the fuck up. How do you turn this into a self-suck-off session, you bitch? Jesus Christ.
Described it to woke one was crazy. Well, how did it get you? Because it didn't get me. How did it get you? How did defund the police get you? Give me your thoughts. How far out did you track the consequences of defunding the police? Because I immediately went to, you're going to have more crime because no one's going to be able to stop the crime. We're going to be fucked. It's going to get scary. And then you're going to want more police. And saying defund the police is just going to make more police and more control and more totalitarian government.
Oh, yeah. A Trump supporter warning about totalitarian government. Totalitarian government if the left wins. Not his fat pedophile, war criminal, rapist president that he supports even to this day. Oh, my God. By the way, listen, I don't know if this is a controversial take, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't think AOC should have said that shit. I don't think she should have said woke one was crazy. Because, look, let me tell you something. I'm a guy. I was viewed by everybody, like, understandably so, I'm like an anti-woke leftist. That's how everybody thought of me. That's the box I was put in. Critics would have called me a class reductionist, right? Like, I think it's fair to say those were my politics in Trump 1.0. Well, here we are in Trump 2.0. And if anything, I'm becoming more woke, okay? Now I look back at woke 1 and I go, oh, that's what y'all meant. Now I look back and I was like, oh, y'all really had a point, didn't you? When you look at what ICE is doing, where they're rounding up innocent people and shoving them in concentration camps. When the Supreme Court comes out and says, yeah, you can racially profile when it comes to doing immigration enforcement. When you look at Gary, Indiana, which lost power like 2 fucking weeks ago, and it's a overwhelmingly black town, and nobody did dick, lifted a fucking finger to get that shit fixed. You look like, oh, that's what y'all meant when you said that. So if anything, saying woke one was crazy now strikes me as totally backwards. Like, I think it made sense to be a critic of wokeness, like at peak woke stuff, where, like, you know, if a comedian made a joke that people didn't like they could just get multiple gigs canceled, or some conservative speaker at a college campus, said some fucked up shit, and then now you're not allowed to speak at any college campus because they're going to protest it or whatever. That, like, I was a critic of that because I support free speech. But now you look back at it and I go, oh, the whole reason for woke one, like the defund the policing. What does that mean? Well, first of all, they didn't say abolish the police. And everybody who says, all the critics of defund the police pretend like they said abolish the police. They didn't say that. you made that up. If you actually looked at the specifics of what defund the police meant, it was very simple. It was like, let's cut their budgets, and then with that reduction in the police budget, take that money and put it into like crime prevention stuff. Put it into like, anti-poverty programs. Put it into like school breakfast and school lunch for kids. Put it into social workers who show up if somebody's having a mental health crisis. Maybe the person who shows up has a clipboard instead of a fucking gun. Okay? That's what they meant. That doesn't seem like a crazy idea to me. But now, the reason why I don't like AOC saying woke one was crazy is that now it opens up the door for all these idiots and all these assholes and all these MAGA cretins to do like, aha, got you. We were right about everything and you were wrong about everything. And it's like, no, because in this moment, if anything, every single person in this country should be more woke. When you look at Stephen Miller goose-stepping and zig-heiling, when you look at them disappearing over 4,000 people, like ICE literally just disappeared over 4,000 people. I don't know. I think wokeness is kind of merited to protect those people. I think wokeness is kind of merited to protect the over 50 people who've died in ICE custody, including the ones who were shot in the fucking face, as we saw on camera with like Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. I think wokeness is merited when ICE is assaulting 84-year-old married couples and shooting priests in the face with pepper balls and tear gassing babies and running over people with their cars and zip tying naked kids and throwing them in the back of U-Haul vans. Okay? I think wokeness is the correct reaction. That if you give me an option of like maybe being a little oversensitive about certain topics or, getting frog marched into fucking concentration camps, I think I know which one I want to pick. Right? So I don't know. I just don't like that she said that because now it opened up the door for all these aha, gotcha moments. And like, let me put this as simply as possible. I simply have no interest in what you have to say about politics if you still support the war criminal, pedophile, rapist, con man, racist Donald Trump. I just have no interest in it. No interest whatsoever. You've been wrong about everything. You're still supporting the most corrupt president of all time, the most criminal president of all time, and you have thoughts that are critiques of the left. All you should be giving the left are apologies because they were right and you were wrong.
Like, what did you think defund the police meant? Everyone's going to like eat mushrooms and we're all going to like be flower children? What did you think? Because there's no police around, no one's going to do crimes, everyone's going to be great. Like, what was the thought process? Because if you're just saying that because everybody's like, that's fucking crazy, and enough people say that's crazy, you're like, I think they think it's crazy.
The wind's blown in a different direction, time for me to move.
Have you changed your opinion? And if you did change your opinion, what were you thinking back then?
Yeah, I mean, these are the questions I think that we always want to ask.
Yeah.
You always want to ask that. That being said, to steelman what she was saying, or to try and put it in the best light, what she was saying, I think, the rhetoric got, what did she say? The rhetoric got like out of hand or something. Woke one was crazy. And she said that there was basically an opportunity to expand the Overton window, talking about a time where people were, to be honest, it sounds like a bit more pliable.
Yeah.
Like, because people are at home, people seem a little bit more, like, that line, never let a good crisis go to waste?
Yeah, sure.
It feels a little bit like that, maybe opportunistic. We can expand the Overton window. And then we realized, we overshot on here a little bit. That was a little bit crazy. But there are conversations being had now that wouldn't have been able to be had we have not expanded it during that time. I go, the ends justifying the means with stuff like that doesn't wash to me. And then reversing your position or changing your position or sanitizing it, which is probably closer, right? We said that thing, but we didn't really mean that. We just got a little...
There's a way out of it for them, but they have to be honest.
You want to talk about honesty? You want to talk about honesty. Mr. fucking cover for Donald J. Trump and his scam crypto coin that he ran on his own supporters. You have got to be fucking kidding me. I'm sorry, man. Again, in this moment politically, when we have the most disgusting administration we've ever had, the most criminal regime we've ever seen, when the corruption of Donald Trump on any random Tuesday surpasses all of Nancy Pelosi's corruption for her entire career, to focus on the left and criticize the left in any way, shape, or form strikes me as completely and utterly misguided and even nefarious, right? Best case scenario, misguided. Worst case scenario, flat out nefarious. Because grocery prices are out of control. Gas prices are out of control. We're in a new illegal war of aggression against another country that didn't attack us, where we're wasting $1 billion a day. We're bombing innocent little girls' schools. They're also bombing fishermen in the Caribbean and the Pacific. They're fucking threatening to steal Greenland. They're threatening to steal Cuba. He did kidnap the president of Venezuela and stole their oil and stole their gold. Okay? What else? This man has destroyed Medicaid, kicked 18 million people off that bitch, closed 742 rural hospitals, kicked over 4 million people off food stamps. What more would he have to do to get these people to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and hand it to the left. I think the left was correct. I think they were ahead of everybody. And by the way, I love that somehow all these conversations come back to like defund the police and wokeness and shit. Meanwhile, go listen to any leftists across this country, and what they're talking about is Medicare for all. What they're talking about is raising wages. What they're talking about is taxing the rich and redistributing that money to working class people. What they're talking about is ending the wars. What they're talking about is cutting off the money and the weapons to Israel. And like, it's just, we're out here in fucking Narnia in La La Land having a conversation about fucking criticisms of the left in this moment. Well, I don't care. Whatever fucking criticisms I have of whatever leftist or liberal that's out there, pale in comparison to my criticisms of this fucking war criminal terrorist pedophile regime where they're protecting Epstein-class billionaires who raped kids. I mean, Donald J. Trump himself is accused of raping a 13-year-old and having a nipple torture fetish. The whole Katie Johnson story. He's listened to the Epstein files over 1 million times. And we're talking about fucking wokeness being bad? Oh, I can't. Oh, no. We're not doing this. We are not doing this, y'all. We're not doing this. So anyway, look, I know what AOC was trying to get out there. She was trying to have a reaction to, you know, the excesses of the slogans of woke one, like defund the police. A lot of people get scared because they think of abolish the police when you say defund the police. And so she was like trying to have a pithy way to like swat aside all those concerns to get back to talking about universal health care and things like that and to criticizing Trump. I get it. But I think ultimately you just gave them more ammo, you know, and take it from somebody who was viewed as an anti-woke leftist. To me, I think it's insane to not be more woke in this era. I think it's insane to not be more woke in this era. Because when you see that the Trump regime is waging class warfare, the likes of which we've never seen before, and the oligarchy is on fucking steroids. But on top of that, they're also waging a culture war on us and a race war on us, where like they're going for the maximal version of that too. Okay? They're full-on white supremacist. They're full-on white nationalist. And so the correct reaction is to turn this bitch in the other direction on both fronts, on social issues and on economic issues. And it's not sufficient to just talk about the economics of it. It's just not. You know, like, look at what they're doing with trans people. They want to fucking eradicate trans people. They say they want to eradicate trans people. They're trying to cut off all their health care and shit like that. It is not sufficient to throw wokeness under the bus when you need quote-unquote wokeness to say, hey, hands off the fucking trans people and treat them equally, please. Give them access to their medicine, please. Stop trying to fucking ruin their lives, please. That's not like wokeness run amok. That's like the right amount of wokeness to try to, you know, protect vulnerable communities here. And so, anyway, got to be more woke, not less woke in this moment. So to run away from wokeness is just gross to me. You can swat down their distortions of what wokeness is without giving in to the bad faith attacks. And now she just fed the beast. That's going to lead to 1,000 fucking of the dumbest people you've ever heard in your life do a little end zone dance as if they got one over on us. Meanwhile, all these people should have to hold every fucking big fat L that the Trump regime is delivering day after day after day after day after day. That's where the conversation needs to be.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, y'all, we got to talk about this Democratic Civil War. So as you know, you have a bunch of Democratic socialists who've been winning in races all across this country. You have some in Congress. You have some in the Senate. You even have it at, you know, the local level around the country. And look, I mean, it's very important and it's very exciting because Democratic socialists represent basically the OG New Deal Democrats, right? It represents this philosophy, this ideology of social democracy where, look, government can be used for good, and we're going to make government be used for good. We're not going to buy into this neoliberal bullshit that government is always bad and you always want to shrink it and you always want to rely on the private sector. That's wrong. It's just a right-wing philosophy and ideology, and we should not be right-wingers if we're in the Democratic Party, okay? Well, anyway, there is a civil war heating up. Obviously, like, Abdul is one of the people getting the most incoming fire over that. You also have Angie Nixon, same thing. They're going after Hasan very aggressively. Senator Chris Van Hollen was asked about this Democratic Civil War and Democratic Socialists, and I thought his response was interesting. So let's listen and we'll break it down.
Let's delve a little deeper into this debate that you referenced inside the Democratic Party. Florida Congressman Jared Moskowitz fended off a DSA-backed challenger in his district, and he's taking a very different view of Democratic Socialists of America. Here's what he said about DSA members likely to join Congress next year. He writes, quote, "They're anti-American at their core. People who have said anti-American things and have said things that are pro-Russia and pro-China, should they really get a security clearance?"
I'm so done with Jared Moskowitz. Jared Moskowitz called himself a Ron DeSantis Democrat. Jared Moskowitz supported Trump's illegal war against Iran. Jared Moskowitz supports continuing to send money and weapons to Israel, who are currently committing a genocide live streamed in 4K. Okay, I don't want to hear from him, oh, DSA is anti-American. Well, I think you're anti-American. I think he also voted to allow Trump, if he wanted to go to war against Lebanon. Okay? You are anti-American. You are anti-American. I don't want to hear shit. You are diet MAGA and anti-American. I don't want to hear shit. Any criticism you're making of people to your left flank, they're not the problem, bitch. You are Mr. Ron DeSantis Democrat.
Asks, do you think the Democratic Socialists have a place in the Democratic Party, Senator?
Yes, they do, as part of the debate. And in this upcoming election, candidates can be very clear about where they strongly disagree with the DSA, which is probably on most issues, but they can also talk about their own plans. So, I'm not afraid of debate. I think that those in the Democratic Party who are afraid of a healthy debate are missing the point, because voters, including Democratic voters, they don't want to simply return to the pre-Trump status quo.
That's a good point. That last point is a good point. But I will say, a lot of people are giving credit to this response. I got to be honest, man. I think it's kind of a limp dick response. I'm not going to lie. I think that's actually very limp dick. Because what their reaction should be is, oh, do DSA deserve a voice in the room? No, they deserve to be the voice, the main voice in the room. Why? Like I told you, they represent the OG Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, before it was overtaken by lobbyists and special interests and big money corporate donors and billionaires. What they should have been all along. Why is it always, whenever you talk about DSA, the thing the media always does, and diet MAGA Democrats always do, and Republicans always do, is they always go to like defund the police and abolish the border and shit like that. And it's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's not a single, or maybe you can count on one hand the number of DSA candidates who've actually ran on such ideas. What DSA candidates are running on is universal health care and free college and a living wage and unions for all and ending the wars and raising taxes on the rich and universal child care. Like, what are you talking? That's what they run on. So when you ask me, is there a place in the room for DSA? I say no, the whole room should be DSA. They should be the majority dominant voice because they are just representing what the Democratic Party always should have represented. It's the Democratic Party going back to their original roots, except this time it's not going to be like good on economics but also racist. It's going to be good on economics and not racist and in favor of equality.
Democrats who are going to stand for something, and I can strongly disagree with one set of Democrats, but I think that debate is healthy.
Well, okay. He's giving in to this perception that like, oh, what DSA is actually about is defunding the police and abolishing the border. What did I tell you? They will always go to the least popular things in the DSA platform and try to make DSA all about those things. And what you're finding is a lot of the DSA candidates, they ask Angie Nixon, right? Like, hey, what do you think about this? And she's like, I don't support that. And that's it. And then she goes on to like go on the offense and talk about the things she does support. You always see this engagement with a bad faith criticism, even among the better Democrats like Chris Van Hollen. He's a better Democrat. He's a decent Democrat in the Senate. Like, he's okay. He's not a bad guy. His voting record's pretty good. But like, stop engaging with the bad faith interpretation of what DSA is. Because what you're doing there, guys, is caving to the right-wing framing and caving to the right-wing talking points. You need to reframe the entire conversation. It's like when they go after Hasan Piker, instead of like playing defense and saying, I don't believe in cancel culture, we shouldn't cancel Hasan. You should go on the offense and say, Hasan believes in universal health care. He believes in ending wars. I support him. He's right about that. That's what you do. Go on the offense. Reframe it. Go on the offense.
Talking about the debate, let's talk about the DSA platform. It calls for, in part, replacing the president and Supreme Court.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Oh, my word. Replace the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. Yeah, so their idea is to do more of like a parliamentary style system and have more of a prime minister than a president. These aren't really radical ideas. They're different, but they're not really radical ideas. Like, there's so much precedent for this around the world in various democracies. But yes, the Senate is a very undemocratic institution, so they want to get rid of the Senate. I agree with that. It's not something I would like run on per se. It's not something I would like, have at the top of my agenda per se, but like these are this is an attempt to make the country more democratic and more beholden to the will of the people. So that's not crazy. But again, what are they going to do? hone in on the things that either poll low or sound kind of out there and be like, this is what they're about. You need to condemn it. See?
With an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress and, quote, to abolish the Senate, the chamber, of course, in which you serve. Do those ideas go too far for you?
Yes, of course they do for me.
The default perspective of every question that's asked is always right-wing. It's always right-wing. Any good Democrat should be able to seamlessly explain what I just explained. Right? Like, actually, these are not extreme ideas. It's a parliamentary type system. It's a way to make the country more democratic, not less democratic. Like, whatever.
I think a lot of the folks who are running, regardless of where they are on the Democratic spectrum, have rejected those ideas.
True.
And so I think when you look at the Democratic Party right now, you're looking at a party that, again, is incredibly united when it comes to making sure we're out there, standing up for working people.
Well, here's the only problem with that, Senator Chris Van Hollen. There is one faction of the Democratic Party that's actually not committed to that. They're called the Diet MAGA Democrats. And the Diet MAGA Democrats happen to also be Zionists who are paid by the Israel lobby. And they happen to break with Democrats on like the most important issues. And so that is one faction that's not with us. And I submit to you, they should be kicked out. Because we have enough among Democratic voters and independents, we have enough to win these elections by massive numbers. They need to go back to their home like John Fetterman with his ogre bitch ass and go bear hug Donald Trump, because that's where they want to be.
We need to end this war in Iran, which is driving up prices. And the reason that Senator Scott didn't want to talk about this election and the issues and didn't want to talk about Trump's record is because you have a rubber stamp Republican Senate and rubber stamp Republican candidates who simply want to do Donald Trump's bidding.
And very quickly, would you accept an endorsement by the DSA?
I would not. I'm not going to sort of look into all these endorsements. I'm not going to reject an endorsement by certain individuals at the DSA.
Kristen Welker, she should be ashamed of herself. She also gave a horrible interview, I believe, to Angie Nixon. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. Everything is framed from a right-wing perspective, literally everything.
But I'm certainly not seeking the endorsement from the DSA. And I do think, Kristen, that this whole debate is an effort by Republicans, as you heard from Senator Scott, to try to reduce, the turnout for Democrats. I don't think it's going to work because at the end of the day, what unites Democrats is economic populism, standing up for working people.
Donald Trump is a pedophile that's in the Epstein files 1,000,000 times. There's accusations that he raped a 13-year-old and has a nipple torture fetish, and this is what they want you talking about. They want you talking about this when gas prices are at a record high and grocery prices are at a record high. They want you being scared of Democratic Socialists of America as 18 million people lose their health care and 742 hospitals close. That's what they want. We're not gonna deliver it to them. Look, I just want a more robust defense of Democratic Socialists of America, and I want a more robust defense of Hasan. Because anybody who's watched Hasan stream for any extent, all you have to do is watch Hasan stream for like 2 or 3 days, and you'll walk away going, okay, yeah, I get what this guy's about. He's a left-winger. He likes democracy. He wants everybody to have health care, wants everybody to have education, wants everybody to have higher wages, wants the people to have more power, is anti-war, wants to stop funding genocidal apartheid states. I got it, right? But instead, everything's always just like, even among the better Democrats, it's so like just pussyfooting, weak bitch-ass shit, always on the defense. Like, I'm so tired of it. Just for the love of God. You're dealing with a bunch of idiots. Republicans are fucking idiots, okay? These brainless media hosts who frame everything from a right-wing perspective are fucking idiots. They all do groupthink. They're all useless. Can you please fucking, for once, like, expose that? Run circles around them? I know Chris Van Hollen has the mental ability to, like, handle this shit easily. But, like, it's like Democrats, liberals, and leftists are always playing the game on hard mode. And Republicans are always playing it on rookie mode. That's my best description of American politics. They're playing on rookie mode, and they have like a bunch of cheat codes in that bitch, and we're playing that shit on hard mode. That's what it is. And it's like, it's unfair, it's ridiculous, and I think it's time that we flip the script and flip the narrative and start going on the offense more.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. Really stepped in shit and posted something that backfired spectacularly. He said this: 2 years ago today, President Trump and I promised we would make America healthy again. Now just 19 months into the Trump administration. I'm sorry, should I be doing this in his voice? HHS has delivered the most sweeping public health reforms in modern history. See the big wins here. And he released this like navel-gazing, self-suck-off, narcissistic ass video. Here, let's watch, and then I'm going to react to it.
Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome a man who has been...
The way he said that. A man. He's not a woman. He's a man.
Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome a man who has been an incredible champion for so many of these values that
See, bro, he's walking in slow motion, so they gotta be serious people.
we all share, and we've shared them for a long time. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Oh my God, how obsessed with themselves are these people? I can't, bro. I can't.
Don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer?
Oh my word. It literally does not get any more ironic than what you just heard. It was Donald Trump who increased the use of glyphosate, the cancer-causing chemical. Oh, no. In fact, RFK Jr., before he was Health and Human Services Secretary, his ass was involved in lawsuits against the company that made glyphosate, winning people money because they got cancer from that shit. Now he's part of the regime that's dumping glyphosate on all of our produce, probably going to kill us all, take years off our lives, almost certainly, right? That he has the nerve to release a video. Slow motion. Look at me. I'm a serious man. I'm being so serious over here. Don't you want a country that's going to make sure you're not eating poison food? Like, bro, bad timing, dog. Bad timing. In the news just today is all the shit about Trump made a secret deal to import a bunch of beef in this country, but don't look at where it's coming from. Oh, what's that? Wild horses are now being kidnapped and slaughtered and sent for meat? That's it. That's not us. We're not feeding you horse and saying it's beef. Oh, what's that? You're taking in Argentine beef, which is pumped with this chemical, which gives people serious health problems. That's not the beef we're having either, bro. Like, you're posting this at the worst time when the entire food system is collapsing because of your incompetence, because of your idiocy, because of your deregulation, because of your stupidity. I mean, it is ridiculous. Okay, I gotta let this finish before I talk again. Sorry, guys.
Safe environment for your children. Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
They have some nerve, bro. They have some nerve. Look at this. From April 17th, 2025. Breaking. The FDA is planning to end most of its routine food safety inspections. Don't you want your food to be safe? We're going to guarantee that your food is safe by firing all the people who make sure that it's safe. That's what we're going to do. What a fucking sick joke. This came out just the other week. Here's a list of government recalls and alerts for contaminated food or skipped inspections during Trump's second term. Jalapenos, salmonella contamination, 345 illnesses, 36 hospitalized. Pastrami and corned beef, listeria risk. Argentinian beef, skipped inspection. Frozen blueberries and mixed berries, E. coli contamination, 12 illnesses, 4 hospitalized. Bacon, skipped inspection. Chicken noodle soup, skipped inspection. 19 million eggs, salmonella contamination, 98 illnesses, 26 hospitalized. Iceberg lettuce, cyclospore contamination, 6,358 illnesses, 278 hospitalized. 2 deaths. Ready-to-eat chicken Caesar wraps, listeria risk, infant formula botulism, 4 illnesses, 4 hospitalized. Soft cheese, listeria, 12 illnesses, 10 hospitalized, 1 death. Deli meat, listeria risk. Dairy products, salmonella risk. Raw cheddar cheese, E. coli contamination, 9 illnesses, 3 hospitalized. Bro, this goes on and on and on. Look at this. This goes on and on and on. Never mind, the fucking glass was in some shit that they had to recall. Like, we're getting ancient ass illnesses that are reappearing, dog. You had measles come back. That bitch came roaring back like nobody's business. You had RFK Jr.'s dumbass was out there telling people to take vitamin A to fix it, and experts were facepalming going, what the fuck did you just tell them to get vaccinated, you idiot? That's the only way we stop this thing is vaccines. So you got all these ancient ass illnesses that are making a comeback. Meanwhile, RFK's out there, and what's he doing? Chopping raccoon dicks off. And then Lord only knows what the fuck else he's doing with those raccoon dicks. My guess is sucking them shits. But he put a beheaded whale on his van and was caught driving with that shit. He was bathing in sewage water with like his kids or his grandkids or whatever the fuck. You guys remember that? That shit was disturbing as all hell. He's felching with Olivia Nuzzi. According to RFK Jr., you are not allowed to have a red Skittle because it's got some dye in there, but you are allowed to drink your own cum out of somebody's asshole. That perfectly sums up this guy's crank-ass views when it comes to health. Drinking your own semen out of somebody's anus, all systems go, but God forbid you sip a little Kool-Aid, the red dye in that bitch is a problem. Can't do that. Good to know. Good to know, RFK Jr. Thank you very much, Mr. I Eat Roadkill, Mr. I Ate a Dog, and think nicotine is good for you and drink methylene blue to the point where now I shake 24 hours a day. Mr. I'm 70 years old and pump myself up full of testosterone and human growth hormone, and I walk around with a boner that nobody wants to touch. What are we doing? We turned over the food system in this country to like the least qualified person we ever could. Right? Like, this is the sort of guy who believes junk science is real science, believes all the alternative medicine is the real medicine, and he believes the real medicine is bullshit. And that's how you get a situation where they limited access to the COVID vaccine. That's how you get a situation where over 1,000 people were fired at the Epidemic Intelligence Service, which, God help us, the next time we have another fucking pandemic hitting this bitch, we are cooked. We're cooked. This is a guy who tried to link antidepressants to violence. Total bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. He uses ChatGPT to release these nonsense Maha reports where there's the most obvious mistakes ever in that bitch. And meanwhile, he's talking about, don't you want to make sure you live in a country where everybody's healthy and everybody's taken care of? And then he had the nerve to say to Bernie Sanders, I don't believe in universal health care. Health care is not a right. Well, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Mr. I'm going to make America healthy, but also the most obvious thing to do to make this country healthy, universal health care. I'm not in favor of that. In fact, he helped Trump kick 18 million people off Medicaid. So fuck this guy and the fucking horse he rode in on. I'm so sick of these just total charlatans. Look, it's not an exaggeration to say they have obliterated the administrative state in this country and the regulatory state. They've just destroyed it. They've absolutely obliterated it. They've destroyed it. And that's why you see all these recalls. That's why you got all these like ancient illnesses coming back. That's why the deregulation crisis has made it so like we don't trust basic stuff. I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm not going to eat ground beef until a new administration is in place. Because I don't know if I'm eating horse or fucking kangaroo or Lord knows what or Argentine beef that's packed full of a toxic chemical that makes people sick. I'm not going to fucking risk it. I'm not going to risk it. And that's all because of RFK Jr. That's all because of Donald J. Trump. So, spare me with your little fucking navel-gazing ads about how special you are and how historic you are when you are literally destroying every single thing about this country that used to work.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, guys. So, as you all know, in this era, the billionaires are completely and utterly out of control. The ultra wealthy are completely and utterly out of control. Back in the day, people have made this point, but back in the day when we had the OG robber barons, right? They were smart enough and self-aware enough to realize, oh shit, we are robbing everybody blind, so we need to like sort of, pay back a little bit in a way that gets people off our ass. And so what did they do? They funded the arts, for example, or they would have these pet projects that would give back to the people. Well, now you got these idiots who think they're God's gift to this earth. And so they're robbing everybody blind, but then they're also turning around and rubbing it in your face and pretending like in some eugenics-y type of way, they're superior to you. You're an idiot, they're superior, and they just worked harder and they're smarter. And they also, every fucking dumbass thought that they fart out of their mouth, they think is something that's brilliant that you need to hear. And so they run around to podcasts and they jack each other off and they talk about how, lovely they are and correct they are about everything. And like, of course, their number one stop is usually Joe Rogan's podcast, as you know. It's literally like, the billionaire apologist experience, the Jeffrey Epstein apologist experience at this point. And so he has on Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk 78 times. And all these people do is they sit there and, they pretend like they're special and they're geniuses and everybody should worship them. Meanwhile, these are the assholes that have rigged the system against you and me. These are the people that have stolen trillions of dollars from the bottom 90%. Okay? These are the people who are hoarding the wealth as you can't afford food and you can't afford gas and you're struggling to pay the bills and take care of your kids. And so here's such a great example of this billionaire overreach shit. Here's Mark Cuban, who, by the way, is not even the worst billionaire. As far as billionaires go, he leans towards the more positive side to the extent there is, and there are any positive billionaires. But he has the nerve to go on a podcast and lecture you and me about how, oh, it's fucking pie in the sky nonsense. You're not going to get Medicare for all. You're not going to get universal health care. So just shut the fuck up and stop trying to get it. Accept some half measure. Accept some bullshit, some half measure bullshit that'll still leave medical bankruptcies the top cause of bankruptcy. I'm not kidding. This is what he says. Here, let's listen.
I'll use Medicare for all as an example, because since we're talking healthcare, like there was that study, I don't know if you saw it, that said Medicare for all would save $1 trillion. Sounds great, right? Until you look at the fine print and see all the references that they used, right? So I looked at these numbers to get to $1 trillion, and one of the numbers was $265 billion and it was elimination of fraud. I'm like, $265 billion, that's a big number.
Elon tried it. I think it cost us money.
Did you just compare the objective failure of Doge to cost savings for our healthcare system if we reform it? Doge was a scam. The whole point of Doge was not to actually save money. The whole point of Doge was to destroy the regulatory state and the administrative state and destroy everything about our government that functioned. Like Meals on Wheels and pediatric cancer research and the National Weather Service. That was the point of Doge. That's a low number when it comes to savings with fraud in our healthcare system. Are you kidding me? The whole thing, the entire system is built on fraud. That's the point. The point is the middleman, the health insurance companies, which get in between you and your doctor and take their cut, and they provide nothing of value, literally nothing. But he's trying to make it seem like, that's crazy. You're not going to find that amount of money to save. Are you fucking kidding me? We have the most expensive healthcare in the world by far, and it's not even close, and our outcomes are worse. We have nothing to show for the fact that we spend way more than every other developed country. I mean, again, he's engaging like, oh, I looked at all the details. You missed like the macro picture stuff. So I'm not going to trust your reading of the details. You're full of shit.
Right. So I go down to the footnotes and I'm like, okay, there's this article that was written in 2003 about Taiwan and their conversion to universal healthcare. I'm like, okay, so what happened? Well, Taiwan went from a paper system, basically, and a market-driven system to a transition to universal healthcare. It was a disaster the first couple of years.
How is it now, Mark? How is it now over there? You don't want to say that part, do you? Because it's fucking phenomenal.
There was this article written that said they saved 8% on waste. So what does the authors of this article?
They extrapolate.
They extrapolate from Taiwan from 1995, a paper-based system, and they applied it to the U.S. budget, right? And so they get, $3 trillion times 8%, and it gets near $265 billion. That is the problem.
That is perfectly reasonable. In fact, I don't even see how you can argue against it. I know how he's going to try. He's going to say, oh, we're a really big country and they're a really small country. Therefore, null and void, throw that number out. Why? First of all, I don't find that intuitively obvious as to why you throw it out simply based off the different sizes of their country versus our country. But beyond that, even if I grant you that point, okay, you could pass a universal healthcare system where each individual state has to set up their own single payer system and is funded through tax money provided by the federal government, right? And then you have, instead of one large universal healthcare system, you have 50 separate individual universal healthcare systems that together make one large universal healthcare system. And then in each of those individual states, you would have cost savings of about 8%. Not hard, not difficult, not even close. First of all, again, I don't even buy. They're like, oh, because of the size difference, you can't make that comparison. You absolutely can, point number one. Point number two, even if I grant you that, there's a way to do it where that no longer is an issue. So he's just like, he's working backwards from his conclusion. Oh, it's crazy to have a universal healthcare system. How come every other country figured it out except us? Every other developed country figured it out except us. And we're supposed to believe they're the crazy ones, not us? Oh, my days.
You've got something that everybody wants. Like if we walked out there and we said, it's $1 a month to give healthcare for each person, $1 a month per person. Everybody like, yeah, let's go. Republicans before it, everybody before it, right? But we're not trying to figure out a solution. Right? We don't know what those costs are. A lot of the reasons we talked about earlier, but you can't lie about it. No, you have to put together
where's the lie? There's no fucking lie.
Plan that gets you from here to there. Another thing that they did was they said, if we change the what we pay the best hospitals in the country, right, to Medicare rates, they would make up the losses in revenue by the reduction in administrative costs. That's the biggest bunch of horseshit. If you walk into a really nice hospital, right? It's designed to be a really nice hospital. It's got all the machines that go ping the really...
Why would you not have really nice hospitals as every hospital? I mean, this... it's called prioritization. It's called we wasted $7 trillion with this illegal war against Iraq. That money should have went to our healthcare here. Right? Well, obviously we can't have good things because we don't have good things. So why would you think we could have good things? Ridiculous.
And they've got the most expensive doctors. If you start paying doctors in those hospitals Medicare rates, you know what they're going to do? They're going to opt out.
Oh, he's literally whining and bitching and moaning about maybe some doctors will get a slight pay cut, and so then they'll just not even become doctors anymore. They'll opt out. The whole point is to make it so they can't opt out. Opt out to what? There is no opting out. A single-payer Medicare for all universal healthcare system. The single insurer is the U.S. government. That's the only game in town, bitch. That's the only game in town. Oh, I hate this man so much. Notice he's talked about healthcare now for 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Has he said a word about the top cause of bankruptcy in this country being medical bills? Has he said a word about the 114,000 people who die every year because we don't have universal healthcare? That wouldn't die if we had universal healthcare. Has he said anything about us being the most expensive system in the world and having terrible outcomes? Has he said anything about the Commonwealth Fund study that finds us ranking dead last among every nation they study with their healthcare system? He said nothing about any of that. Here's why we can't do this, and we can't do that, and we can't do this. I don't know, man. It sounds like you're a fucking mega wealthy billionaire that doesn't actually want to fix the issue.
They're not going to be available to anybody on Medicare, right? And the hospitals are going to opt out. But in both Bernie's and Representative Jayapal's Medicare for All, right, like in this article, in this study, they just accepted that as fact.
I love how the actual radical system, the actual extremist system is right now with the status quo. And he's got no criticism of that. It's literally all just like, oh, these people who are providing a solution, let me nitpick this 1,000 Ways to Sunday in a way that's not convincing at all, but let me do that because, you know, they're the problem. I just can't.
There's just no way. And then the creme de la creme in both of those Medicare for All legislations that were proposed. Section 4, administration. At the discretion of the Secretary of Health and Human Services, they have the option to figure out everything, basically. It's a fucking politically appointed position.
Yeah, well, when you're building a massive, complex system like this, you're going to need to be nimble. And you don't want, like, every little move that's made to be hyper-scrutinized and have Republicans sue to try to shut down the entire system because of one person making a slight tweak. Like, it's obvious you need somebody. Basically, like, you're the healthcare czar who really irons out all the details and dots the I's and crosses the T's. This obvious. Obviously, you would need a position like that. Oh, my God.
How would it be going right now, right?
Yes. We'd all have measles.
Oh, my God. He's literally making the argument of like, oh, yeah? You want universal health care? Well, what about when people who aren't good win elections? Well, that happens all the time in the fucking UK and in Norway and Denmark and Iceland and Canada and all over the place. It happens all the time everywhere. They manage to fucking figure it out. We can't fucking figure it out.
Measles for everybody, and then
It'd be a
salmonella.
disaster. And yet they just make it seem like everything is perfect. That in the case of the
I'm going to push back. I don't think anything is perfect. It's like a sentiment of people are tired of what you talked about at the top,
so
right?
Fix the problem.
Yeah.
They're trying to, and you're fucking blocking them with all of your money.
Well,
fix the problem. Don't come
we
up
may
and
need
say,
an entirely new system.
Yes, we do.
Which actually
We do.
Trump gives us an opportunity. If he can't build that ballroom, maybe we do need a ballroom, a smaller one. Maybe we do not need those shiny horses, I could tell you.
But you get the point of all
yes,
this, right?
I see your point. All right.
Right? Like, come up with a plan so we can actually solve these problems instead of throwing out bullshit.
You're the one who's throwing out bullshit, homie. You are. So stop and think about this. The year is 2026. Income and wealth inequality is absolutely positively out of control. It's worse than the Gilded Age, okay? We have grocery prices are out of control. Gas prices are out of control. People are struggling. And here comes a fucking billionaire to finger wag at you and tell you, we can't have universal health care. Sure, every other developed country has figured it out, and we haven't, but we can't have... Bro, you are the problem. Do you not understand that? You are the problem in the system. And you know what else is the problem? Every other billionaire like you and every other corporation like you spending colossal amounts of money lobbying politicians to continue the status quo. You're the problem. The reason we don't have universal health care is because you have the for-profit health insurance companies spending a colossal amount of money, knowing their business model is reliant on keeping this gravy train going in this system as it is, spending a lot of money. The entire Republican Party is against healthcare reform. And like half or more of the Democratic Party is in favor of like tweaks around the edges, but allowing the parasite for-profit health insurance companies to continue to leech off the system. That's the problem, right? But now here you come and you're muddying the waters further, trying to pretend like ideologically and philosophically, when you structure a system, there's no way you can make this universal healthcare thing work. It's the only thing that actually does work. And deep down, he knows that. And he's just lying. He's just lying. So we're not going to take this anymore, man. We're not going to take this anymore. Billionaires can go to shut the fuck upsville. Corporate lobbyists can go to shut the fuck upsville. You are no longer going to dictate our politics. It's not going to happen. Not anymore. By the way, in this same podcast, he was out there going, oh, if I were to run for president, I couldn't run as a Democrat because the DSA is crazy. So he said he would have to run as a Republican. Hey, Mark, that party is packed full of white nationalists and fascists and racists and bigots and extremists and people who are war criminals. That's fine, but like DSA is the problem. Like, but by the way, good, go with them. We don't want you. We don't fucking want you. You don't share our values. If you're a Democratic voter, to be on Team Democrat, yes, you have to be in favor of equality. You have to be in favor of justice. You have to be in favor of redistribution of wealth. You have to be in favor of higher taxes on the rich. You have to be in favor of expanding healthcare. Should be universal healthcare. That should be a prerequisite to be on the team. So yes, go with them. But I'm sick of it. I'm just so sick of this shit. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. A billionaire comes down from his ivory tower to tell you and me that 114,000 people in this country do have to die every year still. So just deal with it. A billionaire comes down to tell you and me that medical bills will have to be the number one cause of bankruptcy in perpetuity. Just deal with it. No, the system is working as the wealthy want it to work. Like, this was the point. The point was the extraction. The point was to be the mafia parasite middleman that gets in between you and your doctor and steals the money as the health insurance companies do. This was the point. And now you have these gaslighters saying, don't you dare try to fix it because, hey, you might be off in some of the details and we can't have that. So just deal with status quo where you get raped to death from now until the end of time. How about no? How about no? Shut the fuck up, Mark Cuban. That's the show, man. Love y'all very much. You guys know the drill. Everybody like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. Support the show on Patreon. Sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. You guys know the drill. All right, love all you, and I will see you tomorrow.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.